What's up, everyone? I want to record hopefully a short video. I'm going to try to make it short. I finished a really good book here about a month ago called The Practice of Groundedness by Brad Stulberg. And the reason I bring it up, he talks about this concept in the book called progressive overload, which if you lifted weights before or you run, you probably know the concept. That is, to grow, to gain strength, we overload our system physically a little bit so that we can gain muscle from it, gain endurance. So if I increase my tempo, overload my body in terms of speed, because I do that, I may come back and be a faster runner over time. If I go out farther and farther distances, I increase my ability to maybe have endurance, be a long distance runner. If I add more weight to the sets that I'm doing, I can become stronger. And he's talking about a lot of things in the book, I think, that are really awesome. Recommend the book. But I thought about it in terms of my own work with people, in terms of mental health. And I have this concept, I just call it anxious progression. And that is simply trying to overload our capacity with anxiety one step at a time. I think one of the ways to grow through anxiety is that we put ourselves into contact, we try things that may make us more anxious, and in the process we learn how to self-regulate, come out the other side with more confidence and ability to go, I can tolerate certain levels of anxiety or work through them in the way that I haven't before. I think sometimes when we're working through mental health or anxiety issues, there are some transformative moments. I've shared before, there's stories in my own life where I went from just being a complete mess in terms of inability to talk and speak and stuttering to a couple weeks later, I was called to speak on a stage. And though I didn't speak eloquently, that experience of having to work through such high levels of panic and anxiety transformed me and set the bar much higher in terms of my ability to work through things or to tolerate things. But I think for most of us, the way that we grow is we try little progressive moments at a time. So for example, think about your own life. Is there some area of anxiety that you want to grow in? Something that you're struggling with in terms of maybe social anxiety or having a hard conversation or trying something new? One of the ways is to not ultimately think about where you want to end up with that, but to think about what would be the next best step and to test that out, to try it, to put yourself into contact with that anxiety and to learn to breathe and self-regulate and to go, okay, that wasn't so bad. I grew from that, so I can raise the bar and try something a little more difficult next time. I'll close with this story. I've shared it before, but my therapist, one time he knew that I struggled with anxiety, and the way that I managed it was to constantly clean up things, to organize things, a little bit OCD. And it would happen a lot around dinner parties. People would come to our house and I would pick up dishes constantly and organize, and I'd load them in the back. And, so by the time that people are done eating, everything's all put away. And I thought that was great. But he's like, what's happening is you're not really present. You're so disengaged doing these other things. Your anxiety has got a hold of you. So he's like, I want you to try something next time. Next time people come to your house, when they're eating, when they finish, just let the dishes sit. And when dinner's over, then pick up the dishes, take them into the kitchen, and then leave the dishes dirty overnight. Don't load them up, don't clean them, go to bed, come up the next morning and clean them. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. So I tried it, and it was hard, but I did it. And I realized in hindsight, what he's trying to get me to do is to increase my capacity for managing anxiety, increasing levels of anxiety. So that when I did it, I came out the other side and thought, that wasn't so bad. I didn't die from that. I grew from that. So let's continue to overload and increase the things that I'm able to handle in terms of my experience with anxiety. So think about your own life. Think if there's some things that you can experiment with and try with. And if you want to dive into it deeper, again, go to my blog at justrhettsmith.com and look at my last podcast as well. And there'll be some stories and some examples in there of how I've done that in my own life. All right. Hope you're all doing well and have a great day.